I want to ask you, though, about President Biden's handling of this situation. It feels as though has been judged in two ways. One, on the decision itself to withdraw, and then two, on the execution of that decision. And the criticism is really, really focused on that latter aspect. Since the announcement, how would you describe the administration's handling of the last couple of weeks leading to the final withdrawal last night?
Well, obviously, a very difficult situation as they look to pull out in a very quick manner, a very tight deadline. I think a lot of people have criticized the manner in which this was carried out, the release of Bagram Air Base, the way in which control was handled on the way to the airport and the entrance and exits, the inability of a lot of American citizens, green card holders, allied nationals, and in particular Afghan allies to get onto the airport and get evacuated. I think all of those things have been a real challenge. I think a disappointment to a lot of those folks who worked with those Afghan allies, and to the Americans and other foreign country nationals from Europe and the like who were working with the United States as we proceeded over the course of this 20 years in Afghanistan.
What do you think that this could do to President Biden's reputation on the international stage?
Well, look, I think it's obviously a challenging situation. He's explained that in his view that the buck stops with him and the responsibility is his. But as we know, there have been a lot of discussions about the Afghan army and what they did, a lot of discussions about what the prior administration did and the like. And so I think that the allies and our adversaries will be viewing all that in the context of the Biden administration's larger decisions. And so in a lot of ways, the question will turn on how we handle it now, having now exited and left in the way that we did. The question becomes now, what do we do going forward? Do we stand by the commitments we have made to our Afghan allies? Are we in fact able to get those folks out, bring them to the United States, to other countries, and honor the commitment that we made over the last 20 years that individual U.S. soldiers made to their Afghan allies along the way during the course of this conflict?
I certainly appreciate that is the focus point. I guess part of it will also depend on what actually happens in Afghanistan. And the Taliban so far have suggested that they're going to be taking a more conciliatory approach to rule than they did last time around. But of course, many experts are skeptical. Based on what you've seen, would you say that they are actually showing signs of being more lenient and more conciliatory than last time around? Or is it just going to be the same thing this time, too?
I think the Taliban have become more politically savvy, but I have no doubt that they are very much the same group that left Afghanistan 20 years ago, just more powerful and frankly more well organized and more media savvy. And so it's going to look good for a few months as they present a image of a gentler, kinder Taliban to the world. But let's be very clear: Al Qaeda has been in Afghanistan for the last 20 years. They remain there. ISIS has been there since they began their evolution in the 2011, 2012, 2013 period. And so let's be clear, the Taliban are allowing these people into their country. They freed thousands of highly aggressive terrorist soldiers and fighters when they opened those prisons. And while they may have internal rivalries, the reality is that they are allied against us, the United States, and against our allies in Europe. And they are going to ultimately allow the continued planning and plotting of attacks against the West out of Afghanistan now that they are in control of that country. So I am very concerned. And this idea that somehow the Taliban are reformed, nothing about their behavior over the past few weeks has suggested, in fact, that they are actually reformed, just that they're more media savvy about how they operate.